the website name on that sticker. Which is really small. Thick panel, single ply, white powder, rough edges as expected. What does that say in there? chmelodymusic.com. Custom shop. Okay, no surprise, except for the fact that that looks like a 47 cap, the green one, the green chiclet. So inside we have a tidy cavity like that. With only 3 components. 4 if you count the capacitor. That's the jack I thought it was. They put 2 nuts on it, very nice. They adjusted it so that it was flush here. I just heard a noise from upstairs. I'm not sure what that was. Not supposed to be anybody up there. I am going to need to see. Oh, I can see here. Single conductors coming out of the humbuckers. They're not 4 wires. Let's give it a little love tap and see what happens. The love tap worked. It came out easily. It doesn't look plastic. That's very interesting. Usually the plastic ones have the little holes on the bottom. This one doesn't. I don't know if this is all glue that was just stacked up here, or did they put a little shim of some kind in there. Yeah, see? Look at that. The nut slot is too wide for the nut. Looky there. Zuwei. Not that impressive. Even on a budget guitar, guys. Come on. $2/64. Let's see if the nut is standard and the slot is the problem. I think it is. It is. And again, the slot is cut deeper. Well, that is downright Disturbing. I've taken a plastic card which used to be a Northwest Airlines Traveler card, which is a 0.66 millimeter thickness. It's a very interesting plastic, and I use it as a shim for different things. And I cut a shim that's going to fit inside the slot in front of the nut so that the slot becomes the right width and there's a lot less play once I get it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of wood glue on the side of this thing, and we're going to stick it in the slot, and we're going to wait for it to glue up. Oh, don't get it all over your fingers. And just a dab will do you more. I just need enough to make it want to stick. Now before I get the questions, why didn't I use crazy glue? I don't really like using crazy glue in nut slots, even for something like this, because you never know when you might want to get it out, and oh my, crazy glue is not that easy to get out once it's in. Now you can't see that from that angle, but I will show it. I kind of traced it with the radius of the slot. So right now I'm only gluing in the shim. And that will be done by tomorrow. And in the meantime, I am going to take these butterflies off of here. This is the one on the long post. I'm going to replace them with some barrels. Okay, I've got my nut adjustments made. The top of the nut could probably be filed down a little bit and smoothed off. The strings are sitting a little in, but not that bad. Not that bad. I might toy with it when I'm putting it back together. Okay, people, this is where I'm at. I dry fitted the fender style switch in there, and it just fits under the cover by the skin of your teeth, as your mother and grandmother used to tell you. The neck is off. So Zuwei is the same as some of the other manufacturers. They left some sawdust in there, and they have a shim in the neck. Look at that. It seems to be, oh no, it's not stuck. It's just kind of sitting there. It's not a very big piece of wood. It's very thin. So it was sitting just forward of that hole. I'm going to have to see when I put it back. And well, there's sawdust in there as well, acting as part of a shim. And the pickups are sitting on rubber bumpers. It's probably too difficult to see at this angle. Yeah, well, maybe. Not so sure. But they are there. And these things, they seem to be recessed into the body. It's my first guitar with these inserts. And they do seem to be recessed into the wood. And I see some threads in there. Around them. They're in about a 1/4 inch. I'm going to leave them there. No reason to take that out at this point. So this is going to get moved to my other bench for now, while I straighten out this neck and do the things that need to be done to it. I only found 6 spots. Here, 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 there, there, and there. These 2 were able to tap out. The other ones I've had to file down. So now I'm going to attack them with my normal method of taping them and getting the crown back on it, and then building them back up to a nice point where I can then clean up all the frets and make them nice and shiny. I am nearing the end of the polishing with the autosol, and I just wanted to reiterate on the last couple of frets that even after the steel wooling, which brings them up pretty shiny and pretty smooth, it can still be better with just a little bit of autosol, just dabbing the end of your shop towel to get a little bit on it like that. And I use my thumb, and I do it by hand, and I rub until the initial feeling and sound of roughness, and yes, there is a feeling of roughness even after the steel wooling, which does such a great job, diminishes or disappears, and the fret begins to gleam like black pearl. I have high wattage light over my table, and you get the blackness that comes off, and there's still some on there which will still need to be cleaned after this part is done. If I get a little bit too much like that, all I do is just kind of like rub it in to the pores. So this shop towel, I've mentioned it before for people who haven't seen it. This is the autosol polish, and just a standard blue shop towel, which is said to be the equivalent of a 5,000 grit sandpaper, which is really fine. So between the two, of the physical and the compound, it makes my frets absolutely wonderful. And that's feeling pretty good right there. So this protector also gets quite a good shine on it by using it over and over and over, and I have it taped on the back for those areas where I use it on the neck that doesn't have any tape between them. I had to put tape down here because I had to run over those frets that I had to recrown. There's the top. Okay, so I'm done with that. And so here is, another piece of just shop glue towel. I'm going to turn it on this side like that, and just make a little bit of a fan with it. So from the taped area here up to there is the second half of the board that I've done. Now, doing the same technique as what I did in the crowning before I remove the tape. They're going to be rough on the shop towel, but you can see that there's still some black on there that eventually needs to be taken off. And so when I'm done, I'll go back over them with just a bare towel to make sure there is no grit left on there. So look at that. You get lots of black, and here's the first half of the fretboard, 2 stripes. So every single one was done, and now gleaming. That's what I like to see. So now I'm going to take a little naphtha after taking these tapes off, and I'm going to wipe down the fretboard to clean them all up, and the fret itself, the wood itself, just to be sure. Down here at the lower part of the heel, I had some frets here, well actually from about there to the end. When I started using my 400 sandpaper along here as a start, these ones were a little bit too sharp on the edges and a little bit too high hanging out, so I had to go with the file on both sides to get them down, and then smoothed them off with the sandpaper. So I went 400, 600, 800, and they are silky smooth now all up and down the fretboard. And that sandpaper here also went between the frets. You can see that there's no damage to the fingerboard, and it also helps to smooth off and roll it just a little bit to make it even a little bit more comfortable. So that's the next step, is to get this tape off and do some naphtha cleanup, and then my neck will be ready to use in part 2 when I receive the other components to put this back together. Alright, cleaned up front and back. This roasted maple neck is bare wood. There is no finish on it, and it's very hard to tell, but the fingerboard I think was cut, maybe, well, it does look like here, like it was cut from the same piece of wood, like they sheared it off in order to be able to install the truss rod, because the grain here on the neck goes from the back and it goes right up onto the fingerboard and comes right up along here, and then it makes its way back down over here. So it looks like it was made from a single piece of wood. I got a little curious about the bridge and as to why the high E string might have broken, and looking down inside the hole when it was like that, and I could see that it looked like these edges down here were very, very sharp, and they are. This thing weighs nothing, and it's extremely soft, and I found that by just using a bit and I can't tell what the size is. I just chose it by physical size, just to put a tiny little soft edge on these holes so that when the strings come through, they're not going to be resting on a sharp edge that might over time or initially cause them to snap and cut because of the kink over the edge. So that's something that I did there. Also on the back here, the chrome on the back of these holes, very sharp on the back side, very nice on the top side. I'm sure they would drill down. So it's nice and smooth here, and then it goes through the saddles. So I did the same thing on the back with these holes here with a larger drill. Start with one that's very close to the hole. This one goes right through. Close to the hole size, but just a little bit bigger to take off the sharp edges, and then going up in larger and larger bit sizes. I think there was 3 with my drill, just running it high speed lightly across the open holes to smooth them off as well. So I'm going to do that with all the 6 holes here, so that I'm probably not going to end up with another snap string. Unbelievable how much this doesn't weigh. Unbelievable. It's like absolutely nothing. Well, that's my story for this, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed by now, please do. I was looking at my analytics recently, and it's telling me that 82% or 86% of my viewers are unsubscribed. So you unsubscribers, you make up the volume. So if you like some of the stuff I'm doing, please subscribe, give me some support. I don't make any money out of this channel, but it's my personal satisfaction that I am trying to just bump the numbers. Thank you.